Doesn't Gary Yourofsky have that one quote where he says all women deserve to be raped and we should kill everyone who's not vegan? Hi, it's Emily from BiteSize Vegan, and welcome to another Vegan Nugget. We are reaching the end of my interview series with vegan activist Gary Yourofsky, and starting to hit the really hard topics. Gary is a controversial figure within the vegan community, with those opposed to him usually quoting a select passage from one of his essays on violence. Well, today we're going to hear from Gary about violence and whether it has a role to play within the vegan animal rights movement. If you're someone who was offended or appalled by the passage in question, I'd be interested to know if, after hearing Gary's full explanation, you feel any differently about the matter. And I thought the veganism and religion video was going to be controversial. So this is a topic that you've received a lot of heat about, and that is the use of violence for animal liberation. What is your stance on the use of violence when it comes to the animal rights movement? And also, do you support the animal liberation front with taking direct action, like breaking into farms and labs to free animals and destroying businesses?
Definitely support the ALF. If you can see that, I got a tattoo on my arm right here. But I want to be clear, ALF is a non-violent organization. They have a position against violence. But this brings me to another point. You don't have to agree with any group or activist 100% of the time. I love ALF, but I don't agree with them in being non-violent because I think violence has its place in every movement. There are certain groups of individuals who will not listen to reason. And for that, you need violence. You need to put the fear of God into them or take it further. And listen, all throughout history, you've had to kill oppressors to stop the oppression. I don't say this with glee. I want people to know they think that I say this with joy. I wish that everybody went vegan after they heard my speech, and they should. It's logical, it's rational, it makes sense from top to bottom. But there are certain people that don't. So let's not forget, when people say that they're opposed to violence, they're letting violent people, because meat, dairy, and egg eaters, fur wearers, leather wearers, they're the most violent people on the planet. So they get to go off and murder cows and pigs and chickens and turkeys, and we're supposed to hold a sign? Please don't kill the animals? Bullshit. I asked you to stop killing these animals. How long do you want us to ask you kindly? And think about this. This has been going on for at least 2,600 years. Pythagoras wrote about veganism, condemned speciesism 2,600 years ago, and people are still killing animals. I'm telling you, it's getting to a boiling point. It's going to be in the very near future that somebody busts into a slaughterhouse or a vivisection lab with guns, and they tell the slaughterhouse workers, you take those knives off those pigs' throats right now, or I'm going to shoot you. We're the defenders. You might want to call it violence, but hey, you're bringing it on yourself. And this whole bullshit about violence begetting violence. Okay, when the Allied forces went into Nazi Germany and murdered Nazis to save Jews, I'm kind of curious, what was the violence that happened after that? So spare me the adage bullshits. Okay, spare me the bullshit adages about violence begetting violence. It doesn't always beget violence. In most cases, it actually ends violence. I think it has its place. And what I'm going to ask people to do as well, go to my website. Stop reading excerpts of excerpts of excerpts of excerpts online. The truth is, I don't even believe people are opposed to violence, even the ones that claim that they are. And because if one of their loved ones was being held hostage with a knife to their throat, and there was a police sniper on the building across the street with the infrared dot on the guy's head, are you telling me that if that was your mom, your dad, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, husband, wife, son, daughter, that you would go tackle the cop with the infrared beam on the guy's head to stop him from killing in order to prevent an innocent from being killed? You have to look at this from the victim's point of view, because I don't think the cows and the pigs and the chickens are opposed to violence on their behalf. You might be opposed to violence on their behalf because you're not looking at it as a victim. You're looking at it as a victimizer. And I understand why people say that, because, well, they're the ones that would be targeted. Of course you don't want people being killed on behalf of chickens because you're a chicken eater. But that's not how the world works. And listen, there wouldn't be any need for violence if people just, stop mistreating others. And I mean humans too. There wouldn't have been a need to kill Nazis, to kill black slave owners. There wouldn't have been a need to kill all these evil people that were oppressing humans if people just treated each other equally and with respect. So basically, and I've said this before, and I don't want to take credit because I think some philosopher said this, but you don't oppose violence. You just oppose who I propose to be violent for. Again, we can kill on behalf of blacks and kill on behalf of Jews and kill on behalf of children, but nobody wants to kill on behalf of chickens and cows and pigs. Again, I think those animals disagree vehemently, and so do I. Now, as I say this, I'm a pacifist activist. That's all I do is give lectures. Can you get more passive than that? But I want people to think about something too. Pacifism can be taken too far, and so can violence. They can both be taken too far. Gandhi, probably the world's most popular pacifist, do you know what his solution to the Holocaust was? He thought that all the Jews should have committed mass suicide to rouse the conscience of the world to their plight. Let me be the first person on the planet to say this, but the Mahatma fucking lost his mind with pacifism. Bullshit, the Jews should have had to kill themselves. That's not the proper solution to that situation. The right people got killed. The Nazis, when it was time to liberate them. The wrong people got murdered. The right people got killed. Don't ask me to have empathy for victimizers. My heart hurts enough for the victims. I'm not going to weep over a victimizer being tortured and killed. Screw them. No longer care about any victimizers. I care about victims and victims only, and that's where everybody should be on this planet. Forget about the victimizers.
I hope this provided a more comprehensive picture of Gary's stance on violence than any excerpt you may have heard. As a note, Bite Size Vegan itself is a peaceful educational mission, but I don't pull my punches and I don't BS. And I will kick ass educationally in the name of the animals. I want to make clear that Gary, much like me, believes that education is where we're going to make the greatest change in our movement. And education is where we should focus our energies the most. This video is not to incite needless violent actions. But I do think it's important to realize that vegans on the whole are not the violent ones, even those breaking into labs and farms to free animals. We are not the ones killing 150 billion sentient beings every year. We are not the ones stealing babies from their mothers moments after birth or killing day-old babies because we have no use for them. We aren't the ones anally electrocuting conscious beings to take their fur and skin. We aren't the ones torturing them in the name of medical progress, despite ample proof of the inaccuracies of such methods. That is violence, and it is not excusable, especially for something as trivial as a meal, a fashion statement, or faulty science. Now, I'd love to hear from you on this controversial topic. Do you think there is a place for violence in animal rights and liberation? If you are opposed to violence in any situation, what did you think of Gary's examples of the use of violence for the liberation of people? Did your position change at all after hearing Gary? Let me know in the comments. I truly value your input. Share this video around to keep the discussion going, and give it a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Stay tuned to the Bite Size Vegan channel for the final installations of my interview with Gary. There's only a couple left. I've also posted bonus footage and questions that didn't make it to the main channel in the VIV area of BiteSizeVegan.org, which you can access for free by clicking below. And for even more behind-the-scenes action and the best vegan community ever, join us in the Nugget Army over on Patreon by clicking that logo up there or the link in the video description below. If you're new here, be sure to hit that big red subscribe button down there for more awesome vegan content every Monday, Wednesday, and some Fridays. I would love to have you as a subscriber. Now go live vegan, and I'll see you soon.